What's going on, Mr. RapNerd? And I just got back from seeing another Jason Statham and David Ayer team up for a film called A Working Man. Now in this movie, Jason Statham plays an ex-military special forces op who has put that life to the side to become a working man. In doing so, he now works a construction job for his boss, who is really a close friend that he considers to be family, help him just live incognito. But in a bad turn of events, the boss's daughter gets kidnapped, and it's now up to Jason to tap into those old skills to find her. Now, when I first saw this movie, I was a bit scared, just like, this looks exactly like The Beekeeper from what I saw in the trailer, but I'm happy to say that it is not at all like The Beekeeper. Of course, the only thing that is similar here is the fact that Jason is no longer a special ops agent like he was, but he still can tap into those old skills. But other than that, it's way different, and I actually really enjoyed this film because of how different it was. And let me not say like it's super different, like, oh, this is a whole different genre, but it just goes about its story differently. One, because Beekeeper was a straight up revenge story. All he's doing is wanting to cause people harm that got his friend killed. Whereas here, it's an active kidnapping situation, so he has to move a little different. He can't just kick in the door and burn everything to the ground like he did in The Beekeeper. He's got to be a bit incognito to find out her whereabouts. So that makes for a really interesting story because of how far in the underworld he has to go to find her, and he dabbles in and out of these different places and meets these different people, especially as it goes on. It's pretty predictable, and it ends how you would probably think it ends, but all in all, it's still executed really well. The action is top-notch, the choreography is top-notch, of course, and what makes the action good with Jason Statham is it is very believable. You see him doing all these moves, there's no doubt in my mind that he actually can do all of this stuff, especially with his background in kickboxing and all these athletic things that he's done. And one thing I can also say is this movie kind of tugged on my heartstrings some because of the family dynamic. It's more so focused on here than it was The Beekeeper, because of course he's just dealing with like one person who meant something to him in that movie, where here he's dealing with an entire family. That relationship is really sold with the few scenes that they did have together. I actually felt really bad when the situation first happens. I found that feel very genuine. And if I had to compare this movie to Jason's other films, I would say that this is a clean mix, of course, of The Beekeeper, Wrath of Man, and Homefront. It feels like all three of those wrapped in one to make this product. One thing that it does keep in line with Beekeeper is the over-the-top nature of a lot of these characters and how hammy the dialogue is. I mean, there's a scene where Jason has a face-off with a guy, and he literally raises his knife and is like, oh, before charging at him. And again, for most of these Jason Statham-led movies, he is pretty untouchable in this film, but he's not like The Beekeeper. In The Beekeeper, he was just a superhero beating everybody's ass, not getting touched. But here, he actually does get touched, and he gets kind of put in a little situation of vulnerability that we didn't see in The Beekeeper. And that part kept the story interesting. And he even pepper in something with his own personal character's life that adds to what's going on. It's not a lot, but it's done effectively to keep hung over his head the entire time. And as far as the direction, I think Ayer does a solid job. I don't think anything really jumps out like crazy, but as with all Ayer films, it is a good looking movie. There's some nice set pieces. I really love where the third act takes place. It's a really good location to just let loose, and it all looks and sounds great. Overall, I had a fantastic time watching this, and this is one that I will buy on Blu-ray, and again, will be adding to my collection of Jason Statham films to watch. It's a blast. And if you're into action films, especially heroic bloodshed like I am, this is going to be a perfect action film to watch and have fun with. So if you've seen the movie, let me know in the comments what you thought. What is your favorite sequence? Mine personally is the final battle. I love the location and the set design for that fight. And of course, if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. Until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.